7-Eleven is an American convenience store chain that started in 1927. Thank you for your suggestions.
Some mornings there's a little monster in all of us.
Morning, Fred.
And until that first cup of coffee, we can all be pretty beastly.
Morning, Fred.
That's when your 7-Eleven store can be a lifesaver.
Good morning, Fred.
With a good cup of fresh brewed hot coffee to perk up your morning. 7-Eleven coffee brings out the best, not the beast in you.
Hey, Ralph.
The company began as a brainstorm of John Jefferson Green. In 1927, Green approached Joe C. Jody Thompson, one of the 5 founding directors of the Dallas Southland Ice Company, with a new idea. He wanted to sell milk, eggs, and bread through his retail ice stock. "You furnish the items," he suggested, "and I'll pay the power bills," Thompson agreed, and together they established the first known convenience store. The newly formed Southland Ice Company was composed of 4 separate ice companies and operated 8 ice plants and 21 retail ice stations. An early attempt at advertising occurred after one Southland manager visited Alaska in 1928. Upon his return to Texas, he planted a souvenir totem pole in front of his store. The pole attracted so much attention that the employees suggested placing one at every Southland-owned retail ice stock and naming the stores Tote'm Stores, since the customers toted away their purchases. Southland decided to go with the new name. It unified the company's diversified stores and provided a distinct identity, a key ingredient in the successful operation of numerous retail outlets. Thompson also chose a company uniform for ice station servicemen. He also recognized early on that consumers should receive the same quality and service at every store. During this time, Southland also began to experiment with and leasing gasoline stations at 10 of its Dallas-based stores. The Great Depression plunged Southland into bankruptcy in 1931. During a period of receivership and reorganization, Joseph Thompson was named president. After the reorganization, profits from the Tote'm Stores continued to climb, and with the repeal of the Prohibition in 1933, ice and beer sales surged. By 1939, Southland operated 60 Tote'm Stores in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, triple the number operating when the company was founded 12 years earlier. With the onset of World War II, demands for ice peaked. Southland became the chief supplier of ice for the construction and operation of Camp Hood, the U.S. Army's largest training camp. The dramatic increase in business prompted reorganization of the company. Southland bought City Ice Delivery Limited, and the acquisition included 2 modern ice plants, 20 retail stations. By 1945, Southland owned stores scattered over north-central Texas, operating from 7 in the morning till 11 at night, 7 days a week. In 1946, the firm Tracy Locke, commissioned to create a new name, chose 7-Eleven to emphasize the firm's commitment to long operating hours to serve customers better. At this time, Southland remodeled all 7-Eleven stores, doubling the amount of floor space at each retail outlet. After the war, the United States' pent-up consumer appetite surged. Refrigerators, however, were not yet readily available to the public. To meet demands for block ice, Southland bought Texas Public Utilities, which owned 20 ice plants, in 1947, making Southland the largest ice operator in Texas. At the end of the 1950s, 7-Eleven stores began to expand outside of Texas, in Virginia, Maryland, and eastern Pennsylvania. In reaction to mass migrations to the suburbs, Southland opened more suburban stores. Southland also refined its marketing by studying customer traffic in its stores and eliminating products that move slowly. In 1961, Joseph Thompson named his son John as the second president of Southland. His son Jer Thompson was elected vice president of sales. Upon the elder Thompson's death that year, Thompson was credited with transforming the ordinary corner ice house from an ice dispensary to a multi-million-dollar drive-in grocery enterprise. Southland incorporated in 1961, moving quickly to national prominence. The unprecedented expansion began with dairy acquisitions, notably Midwest Dairy Products in 1962, with production plants and branches in Illinois, Arkansas, Louisiana, and Alabama. Purchasing continued through the 1960s and 1970s as the Southland bought existing convenience market chains in Arizona, New Jersey, Colorado, Illinois, Georgia, and Tennessee. In addition, Southland experimented with its first 24-hour store in Las Vegas and expanded to the East Coast and into Canada in 1969. With the acquisition of 100 Speedy Marts in California in 1963, Southland was introduced to the concept of franchising, a system already in operation at a very successful Speedy Mart stores. In January of 1965, there were 1,519 7-Eleven stores. By 1969, the number had increased to 3,537. Meanwhile, the Slurpee slush drink made its debut in 7-Eleven stores in 1965. Through a new computer inventory system, 7-Eleven was able to pinpoint its strengths and discover that single-purchase items were its best sellers. But with such growth, problems began to surface, due in part to the operation of 24-hour stores. High employee turnover and insufficient security systems drew management attention. The company committed itself to the 24-hour store nonetheless, and the number of 24-hour 7-Eleven stores rose from 817 in 1972 to 3,703 by 1975. Southland began to use microwaves for fast food sales and introduced self-service gasoline through its newly acquired Pack and Sack stores. In 1974, the 5,000th 7-Eleven store opened in Dallas at the site of John Jefferson's original ice stock. In 1978, Southland bought Chief Auto Parts, a California chain of 119 retail automobile parts stores. By 1986, Chief Auto Parts was the largest convenience retailer of automobile parts in the nation, operating 465 stores. Southland's most significant acquisition by far was the Citgo Petroleum Company. Purchased in August of 1983, Southland hoped that the $780 million acquisition would provide a smooth supply of gasoline for its convenience stores. In mid-1987, the Thompson brothers, spurred in part by the threat of a hostile takeover bid by Canadian raider Samuel Bellsberg, initiated a leveraged buyout. The buyout, which involved the formation of a temporary holding company called JT Acquisitions, was completed in July of 1987. By the end of 1988, Southland had completed a series of divestitures to streamline operations. Southland sold Chief Auto Parts, the Snack Foods Division, the Dairies Group, Ready Ice, Chemical Food Labs, Tidal Systems, and 1,000 convenience stores and related real estate properties. Proceeds from the divestitures, as well as the transfer of royalties from licensees in Japan, went to repay a portion of the $4 billion debt Southland had incurred during the leveraged buyout. In October of 1990, after defaulting on $1.8 billion in publicly traded debt, Southland filed for bankruptcy plan of reorganization after securing preliminary approval from its bondholders. They would also transfer control of 70% of the company to Japanese affiliate Ito-Yokado. Southland's remodeling program continued throughout the mid-1990s. By mid-1996, the company had completed the most extensive store remodeling program in its history. The new 7-Eleven look included improved exterior and interior lighting, a store layout with wider aisles and better organization, improved signage, and upgraded gasoline pump. That included pay-at-the-pump systems. 7-Eleven stores also changed their pricing policies, most notably doing away with what Southland itself called insult pricing, the huge markups that customers were forced to pay for convenience. The chain thereby lowered prices of much of its inventory, adopting an everyday fair pricing policy. In addition, Southland closed additional underperforming stores in the mid to late 1990s. In April of 1999, the Southland Corporation changed its name to 7-Eleven Inc., in a move reflecting the fact that the company was involved in only one business. In 2005, 7-Eleven Japan made a tender offer, and a 7-Eleven Inc. became its wholly owned subsidiary. 2 years later, 7&I Holdings announced that it would be expanding its U.S. operations with an additional 1,000 7-Eleven stores in the U.S. By 2011, 7-Eleven celebrated its 40,000th store opening, and within 2 years, that milestone opened store number 60,000. In 2012, 7-Eleven changed the size of the double gulp from 64 ounces to 50 ounces. The older style cups were too wide at the base and did not fit vehicle beverage holders, or so they say. In 2020, 7-Eleven announced it would be purchasing Speedway for $21 billion, their second time owning a gas company. Today, 7-Eleven operates, franchises, and licenses 78,029 stores in 19 countries and territories. You think there are a lot of 7-Elevens here in the United States. In Japan, there are 21,215 stores in Japan, with 2,824 stores in Tokyo alone. Thank you for watching. If you like this content, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Thanks.